Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Axis Row or Fake Sports News, whichever floats your flippin' boat, as Pamaj likes to say. And I'm bringing you guys a quick recap of what happened during week three's matches over the weekend, going into Major 2, of course, as you guys know, hosted by the Miami Heretics, who are not having a very good time right now, later in April. So kicking things off, we had Atlanta Faze taking on Minnesota Rokkr. You guys know I was expecting a pretty quick 3-0 in the series, and that's what came to fruition. I thought Friday's match would be back-to-back 3-0s. Felt like there was a skill diff here. Felt like Faze was legions above Rokkr, and they indeed were, excuse me. And I felt like Toronto were legions above Surge, and they indeed were. So we had 6-0 map count on the day. And Friday's matches ended at like 5:20, something like that. So they were pretty quick. Looking at Saturday's matches, we of course had another quick one to start things off. We had a blinker from the Vegas Legion. They took the Boston Breach to Blinkerton City. And yeah, it was a 3-0. Blink and you'll miss it. Super quick. Enough blink references. Yeah, Vegas just handled business. You guys know I really like this Vegas team. I like the improvement that they made, the structural improvement. Of course, bringing Geo in for Sandy. I told you guys last week I thought it would pay dividends going forward. And Vegas, they're looking to be a top 6 team for the first time ever going into Major 2. More on that a little bit later. So in our next series, you guys know I thought Optic Texas would take a 3-1 victory over the Ravens. You guys know I was expecting the Ravens to either take the opening hard point or possibly the S&D. I thought Optic would probably take the S&D. Their S&Ds looked a lot better in Major 2. But the Royal Ravens had something different to say about my thoughts. They said, F your thoughts, bro. Don't let your thoughts win, intrusive or non-intrusive, because we won't let them win here. So they won the S&D. They didn't want to let my non-intrusive thoughts win. And Carolina looked pretty good in the S&D. They played pretty tight in the response, so nothing really of concern there for Carolina fans. Of course, speaking of fans need to be concerned, the LA Guerillas fans, Parasite included, definitely need to be concerned after this 3-0 ass whooping that they got from the Seattle Surge. You guys know I don't like to curse on the channel, but just got to keep it a buck. This was a brutal beating. The Surge beat him 3-0. Not a lot to say there. Surge, we thought were the worst team in the league. We thought LA Guerillas had somewhat of a pulse. Turns out they didn't. Vibe checked into oblivion with this 3-0. Yeah, not sure where the pathway forward is for LAG. Maybe roster change is needed. Of course, looking at yesterday's matches at time of recording, I'm recording this at noon on Monday. The Subliners took on the Heretics. They got a 3-0 over the Heretics. Not really a lot to dissect from that. Heretics have been chalked this whole stage. They're waiting for the Real Visa to go through. They need the Real Visa Savior cheese to come through. The blow it up cheese, the friendship cheese, the honeymoon cheese. I'm trolling. I need to stop going in on these guys. I love the Heretics. I really was rooting for this team. I hate seeing them down bad. That's why I make so many jokes. But yeah, looking at the next series, we of course had another joke of a series. We had a 3-0 from Atlanta Faze. What was up with all the 3-0s this weekend, guys? It was in the air. We had 5 3-0s this weekend. That's insane. So yeah, Faze, they stood on business. They handled business. You guys can see I thought it'd be a 3-2 in their favor. Ended up being a 3-0 in their favor. They came out and they smoked Ultra. Obviously, Faze, they had a lot to say after the grand finals of Major 1, excuse me, and the winter finals, where they lost with a combined map count of 7-2. 7-3. They got stomped. So this was a great rebound from them. A 3-0 is a great way to regain momentum after Ultra snatched it so viciously at Major 1. Yeah, and there was a lot of chirping on the timeline. You guys can DYOR to figure out what was going on. I'm not going to discuss that. I'm not Tac Rab. I don't do drama. It's not what this channel is for. So if you want to find out about that, you can FAFO of your own accord, but it's not necessarily the most pleasant shit talk that you'll see. Pardon my French. So if you don't want to see messy stuff where people's like girls getting brought into it, you can skip it. But drama is drama, storylines are storylines. So it is what it is. Phase 3-0. There's going to be an interesting rivalry throughout the year. Obviously, Ultra's up 2-1. So Phase looking to even the score and potentially, excuse me, even go up. So last matchup of the weekend, we had the Minnesota Rokkr. The Minnesota God save the refs, as Dempsey likes to call them. Um, I'm sorry, God save the refs, which would be the LA Thieves taking on We Need the Refs, which is the Minnesota Rokkr, according to Dempsey. Saved by the refs. That's what he always says. So yeah, it was a 3-2 in favor of the LA Thieves. Rokkr looked pretty decent here. Just another heartbreaking game 5 terminal S&D for the guys going up against LA Thieves on a Sunday night. Not what you want to see. You see LA Thieves on a cold, depending on where you are in the country, Sunday night on Terminal S&D Game 5. You might want to just back out, my brother in Christ. Not going to go your way. So yeah, Thieves look much improved. They're currently 2-1. I have them as a top 6 seed going into Major 2. But more on that based on my projected schedule in a second. So, speaking of the power rankings that I spoke of not long ago, or maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. There's power rankings here. Screw it. So yeah, came back with some new power rankings. Of course, the key is down here. So MP corresponds to the major 1 placement. LP are the CDL points or league points. That's what LP stands for. And M2 is the projected seed that I have for each team going into major 2 based on the matches that I expect them to win and lose on their remaining schedule. So Atlanta Faze, I have them as the number 1 team after beating Toronto Ultra. You know the old Ric Flair quote, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And they beat the man. They beat him 3-0. Without that 3-0 and a tight respawn sweep over the New York Subliners, the reason why I gave Faze number 1 seed, okay, I will give a little bit of background. Respawn sweep over the Subliners. Control was dominant, and the hard points looked great in the series they played against New York a couple weeks ago. And they just have looked good against Toronto, which was the other top 3 team that I thought is in the game currently. So yeah, Subliners, I have them as 2. Obviously lost Faze, only blemish on their record. I have them as the number 1 projected seed going into Major 2, just because I expect them to go 7-0 in this split. Toronto Ultra, I have them as the projected 3rd seed, just because they lost to Faze in the head-to-head. Faze is going to be 6-1. Toronto's going to be 6-1 if they both win out, and New York's going to be 7-0. So looking at it right now, I do think that we have a very top-heavy league. I feel like the top 4 teams are the top 4 teams, and they're just going to be competing with each other for the most part. Yeah, I feel like Toronto, Subliners, and Faze are honestly it's a slight step ahead above Optic. We'll see if Optic maybe regains and maybe they've like made up some footing. Obviously they were thrown off because Pred went home for a while to Australia, and yeah, they weren't able to practice. So there's that. Yeah, so I think this is our top 4. Obviously Vegas, they snuck their way in there with the projections. So let me just go in order and then I'll explain how some of these projections came about. All right, I think that's fair. So the first team, New York Subliners, 7-0. Second team, Atlanta Faze, 6-1. They beat Toronto Ultra, who would also be 6-1 if everything pans out according to plan. Head-to-head cheese, Faze is number 2 seed. Makes sense? Number 4 seed, Vegas Legion. If all things go according to plan, they should also finish 6-1. Number 5 seed, Optic Texas. If all things go according to plan, they should actually finish 5-2. More on that in a second. The number 6 seed, LA Thieves. If things go according to plan, there's 4 teams that should end up 3-4. Okay. How the seeding goes from there, I don't freaking know. But there should be about 4 teams that are 3-4. So the LA Thieves, I'm thinking just based on difficulty schedule, maybe they win a series here or there, edge case. I'm thinking they become the 6th seed. All right. Boston Breach, I'm thinking they become 7th seed, head-to-head cheese, and probably just maps and things. Carolina Ravens, similar story. Some of these seems mathematically impossible for them to improve their standing. They've already lost 3 series. Ravens, they've lost 3 series, but I expect them to win out and lose maybe 1 more. So that's why I have them as 8. In the example, Surge, I have them as 9, Rokkr 10, Heretics 12, Guerillas 11. So for the teams that are 5 through 9, I will take you to these standings now to better explain. So let's switch over to here. All right. So looking at the current standings, we of course have Subliners, Optic, Toronto, Faze, right? Faze is 3-1. Toronto's 4-1. Obviously, they played yesterday. Faze has already lost to New York in this stage. So New York is looking to be the lone 7-0 team. So that's the top four. Optic, of course, is sitting 4-0, but looking at their upcoming schedule, they play Breach, which I expect to be a dub. So keeping track of it, this should be 5-0 for Optic, right? Then their next matchup next weekend on my dad's birthday, they play Toronto Ultra, which I'm expecting to be a loss. So 5-1, right? Stay with me. Then in their last matchup of stage two, of course, the last matchup of stage two altogether, they play the Subliners, which I'm expecting to be a loss for them as well. So that's why I have it 5-2 for Optic, and I have them in fourth place conversely. Then in fifth place, I have them in fifth place below the Vegas Legion, because let me show you Vegas Legion's difficulty schedule. So Vegas, their next matchup is against the LA Thieves. LA Thieves have been playing very well. There's possibility that they lose that. Vegas maybe goes to 5 seed, but I'm expecting them to win. All things considered, they looked very good, and I think that the improvements that they made will pay dividends, like I've said. Their next matchup, Seattle Surge, expecting that to be a win. Could potentially be a loss for them. Not very likely, but it's possible. Same thing with the Ravens. Not super likely, but it's possible. I expect them to win all three of these upcoming series realistically. That's why I have them coming out 6-1 and getting the fourth seed. Now, I do realize that there's three absolute killers here, right? These are trap series, all three of them. Surge has been playing a lot better. LA Thieves have been playing a lot better, and Carolina have been playing a lot better. So no guaranteed wins there. But if all things go according to plan, I expect Vegas to walk away with it. I expect a couple of these to be tight, but I expect them to get a 6-1. Also, I think those guys will definitely want a 6-1. I think they want winners bracket. Vegas has never really had a winners bracket berth. Did they? I don't think they have. No, they did. They did. Last year they beat Thieves in the opening round of Major 3. The hardpoint comeback, the clay play. Yeah, I have the highlights. Maybe I'll post it here, maybe not. But anyways, I digress. So Vegas is number 4 or 5 with Optic. So those Optic, New York, Toronto, Faze, Vegas, I'm expecting that to be the top 5, given the difficulty of schedule and their current records. They have the best chance to win out, have a great record. So LA Thieves, I'm thinking they're the 6th seed because looking at their schedule, they of course play Faze, which I'm expecting them to lose. They play Legion, which I'm also expecting them to lose. So that would of course make them 2-3 at that point. Then they have another matchup against the Guerillas. I'm expecting them to win that, so that would make them 3-3. Then their last matchup of the stage is against Toronto Ultra, which I'm expecting them to lose, so that would make them 3-4. I guess head-to-head cheesing, they would probably they beat Miami already. They beat Rokkr already. Those guys would probably stay at the bottom, so they don't really have any head-to-heads that should help them here. Yeah, Guerillas, Miami, and Rokkr all very much at the bottom with no hope of really like climbing up the rankings. Guerillas has the best chance, but they have a really insane difficulty schedule. I expect them to go 0-7. So that's why I have LA Thieves number 6, 7, or 8. Looking at the Boston Breaches schedule, similar story for them. Of course, you guys already know, I said before, they play Optic Texas in their first matchup. Their second matchup is against Atlanta Faze. So Boston Breach, I'm expecting them to take 2 L's there. Pretty fair, I think. And then I'm expecting them to get a dub over the Surge. So I'm expecting them, of course, to get 2 more losses and 1 more win, which would mean they'd finish 3-4 also. And I think Thieves probably have a better map count realistically than Breach. They're already 6-9. Thieves are 6 for 7. So that's why I had them above them. It will come down to maps, most likely not series. Unless Thieves overperform in one of their series and they just turn up, and they really have made massive improvements. Of course, the Boston Breach, I'm expecting to be 7th, which would leave the Carolina Royal Ravens in 8th place. And looking at their difficulty schedule, I expect them to beat the Guerillas, but they already are 1-3 right now, as you guys saw a second ago. So with this loss, with this win, it would bring them to 2-3, but they would have to win out, right, to have a chance of being like 6th. They'd have to go 4-3, and everybody else would have to conversely go 3-4. So they play the Guerillas. I expect that to be a win for them. They play the Heretics. I expect that to be another win for them. And then they play the Legion, which I expect to be a loss for them. So that's why I have them as 3 and 4. And that's why I have them as the 8th seed. They've already gone 7 and 10 for maps. And yeah, I don't see that really improving too much. Seattle Surge, they're in a similar boat, but not that similar. I expect them to lose a few of these matchups. I expect them to lose to Minnesota. I expect Minnesota to have a rebound here going against the Surge. So that's 1 loss, right? They're already 1 and 3, so that makes them 1 and 4. I expect them to lose to the Legion, makes them 1 and 5. And then I expect them to lose to the Breach. So that makes them 1 and 6. So that puts them at 10th. At 9th place. And then Guerillas, let's look through their remaining schedule. They play the Ravens. I expect the Ravens to win that one. They play the Subliners. I definitely expect the Subliners to win that one. And then for their last matchup of the stage, they play the Thieves. I'm sorry, no, that's not even their last match of the stage. They play the Thieves. They might win that. I don't think so. I think they lose that one, which should make them 0 and 6. And then they play Atlanta Faze. So I'm thinking 0 and 7 for the Guerillas. Pretty straightforward there. Minnesota. You guys know I thought that they would beat the Seattle Surge. So that would make them 1 and 5. And their last matchup of the stage is against the Miami Heretics, the Blow It Up Bowl. So I expect them to get 2 wins here, go 2 and 5, and obviously usurp the LA Guerillas for that 10th spot. And maybe the Seattle Surge too. Maybe Surge don't win another series. I doubt that they don't win another series because they have to play a burger team too, Boston Breach. They could lose to the Breach, I guess, but I don't know. We'll see how things go. I'm expecting Seattle to win at least one of those realistically. So I think they'll hold on to that 9th seed. And yeah, that was about wrap it up for me, guys. Miami Heretics, I think they're chalked. I think they lose to Rokkr and whoever else they play. Let's look just to be thorough. Ravens. So yeah, I think they're 0 and 7 as well. I think 0 and 7 is Guerillas, and of course Heretics. Rokkr is 10th. Seattle Surge is 9th with probably about 3 wins. Yeah, they'll come down to maps. Obviously Seattle has Minnesota has more maps played, higher win percentage, but they also have more series played, so that's definitely not the best. Yeah, so that was about wrap up for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be on the lookout for the video coming tomorrow, that of course being an upload with Dempsey, going over what happened last week and giving you guys a preview of what to expect going into this week's matches. Hope you guys enjoyed this previous weekend's matches. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. And this is Chris from Fake Sports News and Axis Rotation. I almost forgot. It took me a second to remember what my new outro is. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. If you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Axis Rotation channel if you haven't already, and subscribe to the Fake Sports News channel if you haven't already. And enjoy the content, enjoy the COD this weekend. Keep smiling, keep grinding, and stay encouraged. I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. And like I said, great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.